Hi everyone, I'm Matt from the Critter and the Butterfly YouTube channel. We hope everyone's doing alright out there. This is one of our How We Did It videos. We have kind of a steep driveway and there's a couple twists and turns to get the trailer exactly where we want it. And it was a little tough on the truck to get that done. So we looked around and found another way to do it that only requires a thumb, this remote control, and a Purple Line trailer mover. So sit back, relax, grab some snacks and a drink, and we'll show you how we did it. Hi everyone. Well, the UPS driver dropped off some boxes for the Trailmanor today. What's in all these boxes is a trailer mover, but it's a fairly unique one. It doesn't attach to the tongue of the trailer like most trailer movers do. It attaches to the frame and turns the trailer tires to move the trailer instead. It's the Quattro from Purple Line. We have a fairly steep driveway, and my poor Suburban was having to work to get this thing back up in its spot. So this looks like it's going to be a good option. So let's go ahead and unbox this, see what we have inside.
In box 1 comes the control module and its instructions, the instructions for the movers and an addendum, and the movers themselves. In box 2, which is strangely labeled as a portable toilet, comes the optional swivel caster that we ordered, another smaller box with some flat brackets, the frame mount brackets, and some assorted hardware. In box 3, we found the center mounting bar, a box of wire loom, some of the power cables, a smaller box with the shark bite frame clamps, their hardware, the power cutoff switch, and more assorted hardware. The street side motor mount bar, another small box with assorted installation supplies like wire markers, zip ties, cable clips, cable ends, and heat shrink tubing. The manual engagement key was also in there with more assorted hardware, the very important 20mm spacers, motor mounting pins and circlips, more power wire and hardware. The last item out of box 3 was the door side motor mount bar. So here are the parts needed for a successful standard installation. Everything was packed well, and all the parts made the trip across the pond. Now the work begins. The Quattro is pretty straightforward to install in its standard configuration. In a nutshell, you measure to get the dimension between the centers of the trailer tires, put the motor mount assembly together and check that the dimension from the centers of the motor mounts is the same as the tire center to center dimension. Attach the shark bite frame mounts to the motor mount assembly. Hang the motor mount assembly on the open CRL frame and check that it's centered with the tires. Then install the motors and check for the required alignments and spacing. Recheck the alignments and spacing while tightening and torquing the shark bite mounts. Then install the cabling and controller. The included instructions are very detailed and easy to follow, so during your install be sure you follow them closely. Before we could get started on our Quattro installation, we had to modify the supplied frame brackets due to the way a Trailmanor's frame is made to accommodate the torsion bars. After some searching around our area, we came across Landmark Mechanical. If it has to do with bending, cutting, shaping, or welding metal, these are the guys to go to. We ended up with a custom frame bracket with a 6.5-inch drop, with a 2-inch frame pad and a 1-inch frame edge guide. Your dimensions may be different. We decided on a 2-inch plate on the bottom of the frame and an 1.5 inch plate inside the frame. 2 1/2-inch holes were drilled through the plates, the frame, and the mount. Everything was painted and then bolted in place. Because our trailer has a box frame and the instructions noted to install the SharkBite frame mounts on the inside of the frame, we had to modify the SharkBite mounts so the motors would align properly. We trimmed to the first gap on one side of the SharkBite mounts to clear the bolts on the motor mount assembly. After this was done, everything fit fine. The only steps left were to mount the motors with the pins and C-clips, check the spacing and alignment, and tighten everything down to specs. The next step was installing the electrical. On further research, depending upon how your measurements end up, the manufacturer says that the SharkBite mounts can be installed on the outside edge of the frame. Knowing this would have made our install a little easier.
When you purchase a Quattro trailer mover from Purple Line, they send you everything you need for a standard installation. All the modules and cables and hardware, the whole 9 yards for a standard installation. Their standard installation usually puts things in a battery compartment or under a couch or a cabinet that's accessible all the time. The thing with the Trailmanor is it folds up, so there's nothing really accessible except for the rear bumper storage. And they give you a power shutoff because they want the power shut off to the controller when it's not in use. So in order to install this switch where we can get to it, we put it in a waterproof box with a couple grommets in it. That's going to go into the back bumper storage. Now the motor wires we ran up in the frame as opposed to along the bottom of the trailer. So in order to make that work, we needed an extra about 7 feet of 1-inch wire loom, and we picked up 6 rubber cable clips in order to support those cables. Now to make the connection between the main controller for the trailer mover and this power switch, we picked up about 15 feet of number 2 solid copper welding cable. If you're going to do something with your trailer, this is the cable to get. In order to get this cable to attach, we picked up 4 each of 1/4 inch and 3/8 inch solid copper lugs. So that will make all the power connections necessary so we can have the remote shutoff switch accessible when the trailer's closed. An extra added attraction is this little guy. This goes on the positive battery terminal and allows you to hook up 6 different things without putting them on the battery terminal. Makes it a lot easier to do. It isn't a must-have, but we thought it was kind of cool. So we're going to use this as well. So these are all the things that we need in order to hook up our remote power cutoff in the Trailmanor.
With any high draw load, you want it as close to the batteries as possible, so we installed everything in the rear compartment and used large cable. The compartment is pretty full, but we found room for everything. We ran the motor power and control cables inside the frame rails instead of along the bottom of the center of the trailer as stated in the instructions. We found a convenient place to drill a pass-through hole and started routing cables. All underside cables are in wire loom or protected with metal tape. The motor power wires all need to be the same length, or there will be operational problems. That's why there's a little extra here. The controller is well marked, and the instructions are clear as to which cable goes where. The cable markers come in very handy for this. The negative battery cable runs to our negative battery block, and the positive cable runs down around the batteries in a natural groove in the floor, then through the compartment floor in its own hole to the cutoff switch. From the switch, it runs back up through the compartment floor through a separate hole to the supplied 125 amp fuse, then to the battery junction block. That completes the electrical installation. Now it's time to get this trailer moving. Turn on the battery cutoff switch, and press the power button on the remote 2 times. Our remote was paired at the factory, so we just need to turn it on and it finds the controller. Press and hold the power button for 3 seconds and the movers automatically engage. Now we just need to use the control stick to move the trailer any direction we want. When we're done, press and hold the power button for 3 seconds and the movers automatically disengage and park themselves. Tap the power button 2 times and the remote powers off. Shut off the battery disconnect switch and that's it. Even with working around the custom frame brackets and the power cutoff switch location, the Purple Line Quattro is an easy install. The alignment of the motors is extremely important to get right, but they make it pretty easy. We look forward to many years of easy trailer moving.
Hey, thanks for stopping by to check out the video. We really appreciate it. It's amazing the things you can get for RVs nowadays that make life a lot easier. So if you liked the video, don't forget to give it that thumbs up there on the bottom. And if you want to keep up with us and see what we're up to, don't forget to click that subscribe button and the bell icon so you'll be notified when we upload new videos. Thanks again for stopping by, and safe travels.